Hi everybody, welcome to the Developer's Commentary. I am Murray, otherwise known as MrScaryMuffin.
And I'm Scott, otherwise known as Merlinus12.
Great, we're gonna go through the game at a relatively easy pace and we're just gonna yap and chap about everything that we see. Uh, as you see, my Escapecraft is the only thing I have. I have nothing else besides Escapecraft.
That is pretty much our entire lives.
Yeah. I set it as World 4 and actually it's quite interesting because I always wanted to put Escapecraft as World 4. Every time Scott loads up the file, it's always World 1 for me, and that always bugs me because I had stuff back then and it would try to overwrite on top of the World 1.
It's just the stupid penalty. If people, don't remember to replace that, then, they get a world deleted. I think that's good punishment.
Well, when we did the release, we actually made it so that people wouldn't hate us that much that early.
Yeah, well, we wanted to give them opportunities to hate us, when they got to the door platformer.
Right, so here we go. This is the spawn room, and this I made this one, but I based it off of Scott's design back in Escapecraft 2. Nice
Yeah,
big
it's always
open
nice to
air.
actually have. Yeah, we learned after Escapecraft 1 that if you don't have an open air spawn chamber, then, well, you can't respawn and it throws you outside the game in some sort of grassy, nice area. Which I suppose could be this like Elysian Fields sort of concept, but yeah, it's probably better that people respawn in the game.
Yeah, so that when they die, they don't get to escape; they get punished more.
Exactly, exactly. Punishment's good.
Okay, well, I'm not gonna bother reading all the signs since oh, hey, there's a new signs over here. Okay, well, unlike Escapecraft 2, which was pretty much a standalone game, this one kind of continues on the story from the second Escapecraft, so which is why we recommend that players play the second one and not the first one. Well, the first one's optional.
Yeah, we still recommend that people play the first one, particularly now that I, have a decent spawn point and rooms that don't spontaneously explode and other fun stuff like that.
Yeah, we kind of went through that kind of 8-bit era where it's very punishing and just cheap deaths and all that kind of stuff.
Which is his nice way of saying that I was just too lazy to go back and fix it.
Well, I mean, if people were putting quarters into your machine, you'd be rich.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, actually, I think that's what they're doing now is putting quarters into the machine.
Um, Something that players will notice is the texture pack we have. This is Lightstone over here. I'll just break it for you guys to take a look. Breaking the first rule. I'll try to break every single one of these rules before we're done.
Should we review the rules first just to make sure we cover them all?
Well, I mean, I usually go over them in the walkthrough if I want to.
Okay.
Yeah, well,
All right. All right.
yeah, I mean, anybody who's watching this should play through the game first. Spoiler alert, by the way, we'll spoil everything in this game, so you should play through it yourself first before coming over here. Okay, let's take a look at this. This is really cool. I love the texture pack we have. So the guy who did the texture pack for us, neither of us is really artistically inclined. It's this guy right here, Matt Fishman, or Matt Fisher rather.
Yeah. Now we've given away his real name. Dang it.
It's okay. I think he has it on his channel anyways. Oh,
Oh,
speaking of
does
his
he?
channel, just bloop right there, magically YouTube link for his YouTube channel. Do check it out. He's a really cool guy, and his voice sounds better than mine, I think.
I don't know. You kind of have that, vaguely. I don't know. You have a fun accent at least.
I have a Canadian Chinese accent, I suppose.
I'd say that's pretty unique.
All right, so all the people here are Hall of Famers. They're actually our donors who have generously contributed and helped us pay for hosting. Surprisingly, um, this is a really big map file, and it uses up the bandwidth really quickly.
hmm Yeah. As of the as of us recording this, we've let's see, EC 1, 2, and 3 have used up, I think, 1.3 terabytes of bandwidth,
Jeez.
and this week alone we've had nearly 15,000 downloads.
Oh yeah, we're
So
recording this. We're recording this after the first weekend of release. I don't know when I'm gonna put up the video, but it's only been a couple of days since we came out with the game.
yeah. So just thanks for everyone who downloaded it, and an extra special thanks to everyone who's helping pay for all the people downloading.
Indeed, thanks a lot. Do you want to talk about this guy anyway?
Oh yeah, my darling brother called me last night and was asking me how to install a texture pack onto his Mac. So he finally broke down after the third game and downloaded Minecraft and decided he'd actually play one of my games. So and he sent me $5, so he gets a little space on the wall. So he's the Abel to my Cain, my little brother.
So this little uh, no food or drinks allowed joke, we kind of came up with this just last minute when we were, I think, still like in the middle of doing the putting everything together. The Minecraft magazine Obsidian Block asked us for a bunch of screenshots, and I quickly threw a hole in the wall and made a no food or drink allowed, and a trash sign with the bread being tossed in there. Uh, this is not the same shot from the screenshot. I'll show that
It
one
used to be on
later.
the other side, just like a
Yeah,
couple
yeah,
versions ago.
yeah. This the spawn room itself has changed a lot. We made it bigger. We made this little hole for the Hall of Fame. It used to be like 3 by 3 or something, and then you just jumped in the hole. And we finally added some little jokes and stuff like that eventually. Okay, I'd have nothing else for this room. Oh, other than the fact
Nope.
that after you tossed the bread in the original version, when the bread disappeared, the door closed again, and so players were stuck here. We finally fixed that. That was kind of embarrassing.
Yeah, and thankfully, uh, Murray was able to eventually figure out latch circuits. I still haven't quite mastered that level of technology, but uh, something else we should probably mention before we get too far is just kind of how we made it, and perhaps some tips to recognize whether you made the room or I made the room.
Oh yeah,
So,
if the room looks butt ugly and it kills you or frustrates you relentlessly, that's probably my room. If the room is like beautiful and really cool, that's Scott's room.
other tips: if it involves minecarts, it's Murray. If it involves lightstone everywhere, it's Murray.
Oh yeah.
If the puzzle is really, really easy and seems overly intricate, it's probably me. So maybe you can throw up blurbs as we go through for people to recognize those little
Sure.
traits.
Sure. Well, okay, this is one of my rooms. We call it the wake up room. And by the way, it's me. I'm playing right now. I'll show you. Oh, hey, my avatar, because Minecraft is offline, so you can't see my skin. But um, you know, right just before release, after I've made everything like the spawn and this wake up room, I realized, hey, we have an ending from Escapecraft 2 that we could have used to start the game, where you just fall through the sand again. But by then we were like, no, no, I'm done. Let's just release the damn thing. Originally, when I made this, I was thinking like it was we hadn't had a story done yet at this point, so I was thinking like, oh, maybe it's a clone or something waking up from cryogenic freezing. Um,
Yeah, originally this wasn't a continuation of EC2.
that's right.
It was a completely different test subject, but I think we decided maybe a day before we released that no, let's just make it the same guy.
And so alpha testers would have seen different signs here, and anybody watching this and only played the original release file that came out realized that, hey, now the signs are logical and they don't read across this black bar like they did before.
Yeah, sorry about that.
I was people were reading like, wow, that was a good thing you almost carbon freezing.
I think they usually figured it out after the first set of signs, usually.
Oh,
But yeah.
if you go through the YouTubes and just take a look at what some people said, it's pretty funny watching people reading those things. Just like Escapecraft 2, I wanted to put little portal blocks around, but then it was basically try to make you think you'll come back here somehow eventually, but I knew you wouldn't. But it made the signs hard to read, so I added the glass through it, and so you can actually read it. And basically, took away that idea that you might be coming back here to light these portals anytime soon. These
That was a
double
nice touch in
doors,
this room.
these double doors were super annoying.
Yeah, I'd forgotten that you have to set up a complicated redstone setup to do double doors.
Just to do freaking double
'Cause
doors is ridiculous.
hmm
A lot of people
See.
actually got stuck right here in this first room.
Yeah, and
Um,
haven't quite understood that. Apparently, some people will hit that button and the sand won't fall, and other people
a
have
lot of
no
people
problem with
hit
it
this.
whatsoever.
A lot of people hit this thing thinking it was a button, like a really large somehow button.
Really?
Yep,
Huh.
I watch people just kind of smack it over and over again. Well, and people were looking for furnaces because you were notorious for your furnaces.
Yeah, well, those aren't any fun anymore
No,
because
yeah,
now
'cause they're not hidden.
now the furnaces you can just see. So, but that was also just. I mean, I don't think I used those in EC2 at all. Oh no, yeah, I did.
Yeah, you used them
Yeah, I
to
did.
hide
I
the
did it right at
secrets.
the beginning. Yeah, but just to hide secrets. They weren't mandatory to progress through the game. I figured
Sand
that was kind of
falling.
a dick way to do it.
If
Yep,
there's massive amount of sand falling, that's a hint. It's a Scott room.
that would be me.
Scott's
Yeah,
room.
I wish we could show you this room real easily from the outside. It is absolutely massive
It
because
is huge.
the layers of sand. It's just really complicated. Minecraft's not really intended to do that.
I
But I figured out at
remember.
the end of EC2 that you could that I could set up a redstone circuit to make those sand falls, and it was just such a cool effect and such an unexpected one that I knew I had to incorporate it.
When you sent this room to me for concept testing, you didn't tell me where the entrances was, and there was like 6 different entrances and exits, and I'm like, where am I supposed to be going from? It was
Yeah,
a
that
very
was
hard room to test.
yeah, that was lovely and overcomplicated and all sorts of fun things like that. So, but that's pretty much my design style: is make it as user unfriendly and complicated as possible.
There's
So,
a lot more platforming in this in EC3 than there were in the previous ones. There's already this jumping section
Mhm.
here. When I did the speed run, this section killed a lot of my runs just because I didn't make the jump consistently.
yeah, I had a couple of my friends who run various gaming websites. They wanted to review my game, and so they just asked to play through it. And I decided to be in the room when they did it, and I was amazed how difficult that just simple jumping section is for people who aren't used to the jumping mechanics in Minecraft, who just haven't trained themselves for that.
I'm
But
used to the
I really
jumping
thought of that
mechanics, and
something
I still
really
have a hard
easy.
time.
I don't think I've ever fallen doing this jump, doing those
You've
jumps.
never
So I
fallen doing
just,
this jump sequence?
no, I've never fallen during that jump sequence.
Oh man, you gotta record yourself doing that. It just even in the
Yeah, if you
speed
just,
run, I fell once doing this sequence here.
well, you got me back with the door platformer. That
Oh
one is
yeah,
beyond my considerable talents.
that's because
So
your computer sucks.
that is part of it, definitely.
So this
So
is the first of what we call the hub rooms, where basically there's multiple entrances and exits, and players are actually supposed to return here. And there's the wooden plate up there at the top part of the screen, and come back here later after acquiring items. I guess we'll talk more about that later when we'll go over places where people got lost.
yeah, definitely.
But before I jump down, I want to just say hi to our little G-Man friend here.
This had to be the single most brilliant stroke you had in this whole thing. I have been amazed how many people were completely weirded out by that.
People
So
got seriously freaked out. They jump, whatever, and a lot of times they'll hit that. They'll follow me like the way I did in the trailer, and just look down and just jump down. And when they come
hmm
back again here with the fishing rod, they go, "What the crap? When did he come here?"
Yeah, and I guess I could probably set up some sort of falling sand thing to where you literally can't see it the first time through, and he appears after the second one. But I'm reluctant to go back and put more time into a finished game. So,
Yeah, no, I think actually if you put another layer behind him, you all right there, buddy?
oh yeah, fine. Sorry.
This is unedited. This is live, folks. Um, yeah, actually, if you put another layer, he'll probably start jutting out into the next room. I think this is about as.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's amazing how tightly connected these rooms are.
Yeah.
Well, for those who have played the full frame rate intensive version, you notice that as you go through because occasionally you will hear the slamming doors in the door platformer.
Yeah. This is look how beautiful this room is. That's your hint. This is Scott's room right here. This we call this the mirror room. It's it's really nice looking, but true to
Hmm.
form, you just jump and hit the switches.
It was amazingly difficult to get that real simple effect to work. I remember us going through several different incarnations of this
My
before.
favorite is still the one with the plates, where everything was plates, and you actually had to look up to make sure you're hitting the correct ones. Otherwise, when you hit the plate and there was no sand, there's no
Mhm.
post underneath, you would just fall down. And so, if you weren't looking, you'll keep falling over and over again. But the problem was that it gave players a lot of plates.
And the other problem is it was almost impossible to create the sand in such a way that hitting when they hit the first plate, it wouldn't take out the entire floor. Again,
Yeah.
sand's not really supposed to do this, and so we have to take advantage of a lot of different glitches, and sometimes they don't all work together nicely.
A lot of people will hear the TNT when I hit these buttons, and that's actually before we discover how to make latches, Scott used TNT to act as latches.
Yeah, so if you actually saw the outside of this room, it's essentially a just a redstone setup with torches, and when you hit those buttons, it activates TNT, which drops a torch, and when all of them are down, it opens the door. So
I
that's
actually
just
think that worked pretty well because we didn't have TNT killing people this time around, and it acted as kind of an indicator that they were doing something right.
hmm Yo, yeah. So it was completely intentional after the fact.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
after the
it
fact.
was lovely.
Uh,
Yeah,
I just
by
remember
which I
one
mean
of
I was
our
too lazy to go install latches.
I remember one of our incarnations of the room involved lava down there.
Oh yeah, that was one of my little that was one of my little additions, and somehow you did manage to convince me that no one would play past this room if there was lava in the bottom of this thing.
Well, we put this early on, and we're like, well, if we're gonna kill them, at least we'll make it so they don't have to, go through the whole game again every time we kill them. And
Yeah, then I think we realized just how many times that would kill people.
yeah,
So
I mean, I just did all the jumps right now, but that's because I've ran through this room now like 20 million times, on the dot
hmm
exactly. This was my 20 millionth time right now, doing this
yeah,
perfect jumping sequence. But
yeah,
yeah, players,
and
it's hard. Some of these jumps are hard to do.
yeah. Here's a tip to anyone aspiring to make any sort of adventure game, particularly for Minecraft. Your game is always easier to you than it will be to anyone else. Anyone who's played through EC1 realizes just how hard that game was. I didn't think it would be challenging enough. So always have somebody else play through it. Our testers were the most important part of this process.
So when we made these we called them the treasure rooms, and they look almost all exactly the same. There's a little pedestal, the area, the light focusing on the thing. It's very Zelda-esque.
hmm Yeah, at one point I was hoping we'd be able to get note blocks to actually play the little Zelda theme, but
Yeah, that would have been cool.
unfortunately those take up. Unfortunately, actually making any sort of recognizable sound with note blocks just takes an incredible amount of time and, more importantly, an incredible amount of space.
Da 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 da. You found the tackle box. I tried to make my hand hold it up in the air, but that didn't work very well.
Yeah, and to clarify, everyone, the Magic Sword in a Stone is a reference to the Master Stone in the Zelda series.
Oh, really? I thought it was reference to the sword in the stone, like Excalibur from the Arthurian stuff. That
Well, I suppose you could say that it is a reference to the Arthurian legend, as is, by the way, my forum name, but it was intended as an indirect reference there. Zelda
oh,
references the Arthurian legends with pulling the sword out of the stone, and anyway.
so people would have noticed that I actually have several fishing rods in there, and I actually that was like a last minute addition. I was just like, well, if people die and they don't make it back to their items in time, the items will disappear. Then they're
I
screwed.
think you actually, I think you actually forgot to tell me about that. It wasn't until like 2 days after we initially installed, and I think I was looking on your screen or looking on someone else's screen that I realized you did that. So, but it was a smart move.
Yeah,
Smart move.
and it also helps for the multiplayer guys who do it. That way, everybody gets a fishing rod, and they can all just tangle up their lines as they try to make the shots.
Yeah, apparently you gave them enough fishing rods
Oh,
that
hey,
they
it came
could
back.
have what?
It came back. It didn't stay down. That was weird.
Huh, that's odd.
Well, then, I guess I'll
I
walk
think
through the door.
the game is giving you a hint. You've been talking too long.
All right. In case anybody's wondering, I have taken down notes for this, so I kind of have an idea of what I want to say, whereas Scott's just kind of interrupting
Making
whenever.
stuff up. Yeah.
Okay, so what I have here, spawners and issues with spawners.
Now, I'll add a little short note about how we made this particular game. In EC1 and 2, in EC1, I literally placed every single block by hand. I didn't use MC Edit. I hacked in all of the I hacked in my inventory full of blocks, but other than that, I mean every single block was placed by hand. EC2, I actually got good at using MC Edit, so in that one, I made pretty much all the large structures out of that and just did the redstone and things like that by hand. Um, and where was I going with that, Murray?
I have no idea. You were talking about how we made this.
Oh yeah, right. Uh, so this time around, but we made I made both of those previous games as one entire unit. In this game, because we were working together, we decided that we would make each room separately, put them into a schematic, and then at the very end, we pieced them all together.
Yep, and we just followed
Which
the
was
flowchart.
Yep. And that was great in a lot of ways. The one problem with it is that there's a difference between having one room in a world with spawners and having, let's see, 25 rooms, 5 of which have multiple spawners. So when we tested this room, when you hit that button, a pig pretty much immediately fell down out of the ceiling.
Doesn't always
Right
happen.
where you need to be. Yeah, here, unfortunately, in the full game, you have to stand on it a while, and that's just because we're hitting mob caps, and we have, I think we probably have 30 or 40 physical spawners in this map in various places. So, sorry about that.
No, no problem. So, people probably saw that those were pigs in jumpsuits. Again, thanks to Fish for making those. He also did, I think, cows, creepers, zombies, and chickens in jumpsuits, and that was pretty cute.
Yeah, Fish was absolutely essential and doesn't get as much credit as he deserves for making this game what it was.
Indeed.
Really, it wouldn't look anything like this. It wouldn't look nearly as good, and of course, all of the little secret special things would have been absolutely impossible.
So let's take a look at this little bonus room. I used the portal picture so that people will, hey, you're supposed to go here. Normally, if you don't have the texture pack, it wouldn't be lit up and you wouldn't notice it as much, I guess. Although,
Yeah, it would just be 2 pieces of sandstone sitting right there.
I love this room so much.
You did a great job on this, I have to admit.
You would not believe the weirdest thing I had the problem with. Take a guess. Guess where I had a problem in this room?
In this room,
In making this room.
I'm guessing putting up the paintings.
No, the paintings were fine. I mean,
Really?
I just looked through them and I just spammed them. The hardest part was actually getting these damn flowers to stay down. When you put the
Really?
flowers down, sometimes the other ones will pop up. I had no idea why it was doing that. So I tried to make a ring of flowers, and every time I put one here, one over there would pop up, and like, okay, go over here. It's like hitting golfers in the holes, Put this one down, and then that one will pop up. I'm like, what's going on here? So I said, screw it. I did an MC edit. And this is a coffin, obviously. A
Yeah.
casket. Oh, okay.
You did a
You
good
know what? I
job.
will preserve this one. I won't use it at all. I'll save that one. In case-
1089, how we loved thee.
I know. You want to tell them the story of 1089? Will I just go through a photo gallery for people?
Oh, tell them the story of how I came up with that? Or,
Yeah.
Uh, to be honest, I'm a chronic insomniac, and I think I was up at 5 a.m. trying to come up with some way to start off EC2, and I don't know. I had just played Portal for about the 5th time through, and the idea just came to me. And once I had the little jar, 1089 was originally going to be a creeper, but that became problematic because of difficulty settings and just how things worked. So I decided to make him a pig because that's more adorable, and much less likely to blow up on the player if he walks too close to the cage. So yeah, that was pretty much the story of 1089. And then the good ending, was actually added later when I realized that, hey, that TNT falling down, that gives me that's a temporary kind of surface that they can walk on. If they didn't blow up 1089, then they can walk on top of that and get to a completely different place instead of falling down into the jar. So that's basically the story of our most famous character.
It's like the only character. Oh, hey, good. We'll just leave it like
Well,
that.
that and Herobrine, but he wasn't really ours. But
Yeah, that's true. I love how though we give the Herobrine experience though when you freak out at looking at this guy with hollowed eyes staring at you.
I thought that was a really nice touch.
So this was
Uh,
Scott's room. Yeah, I'll just say that before I leave. And then this is my room. And I know when you were describing the hubs and the treasure rooms and stuff like that, really thought of Zelda. And this room was
mhm,
basically a Zelda-esque room where it's aiming and platforming. If you had a grappling hook
mhm.
instead of this, it would have been awesome, but that's okay. Fishing rods are better than grappling hooks. Um,
Well, and it was, part of our original design was that we knew we'd be giving these kind of persistent items to the player, and we wanted them to have a chance to practice using them a little bit
yeah,
before we get really hard puzzles. And so this was intended as a tutorial room, but we moved it a little bit later based on various factors, I think.
it's actually quite interesting because the way you proposed the thing to me was that we'll give them the treasure, have them go like 3, 4 rooms with the item, and then they'll go back to the hub, be able to use the item, and then get a new item after they exit the new exit from the hub, and then go through
Hmm.
another few through rooms just for that item, and eventually in the end we'll do puzzles that involves all items.
Hmm. Well, that's essentially what we did. We varied it up a little bit just because it'd be a little too predictable if we followed that formula exactly. But yeah.
Bank shot, oh yeah. This is
Aw, did you miss?
no, I got the second shot, second shot.
Oh, okay.
There's a bit of lag.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm getting a little bit of delay on your screen, so if my comments don't necessarily make sense with what he's looking at, that's why.
One of my favorite little bits of I like being a little bit evil when I was doing these. If you